I'm Margaret Collins, 38 years old, and I never imagined my own sister would stab me in the back at our parents' 40th wedding anniversary. The night was meant for celebration at their cozy home in Austin, Texas. I spent hours perfecting a rose petal cake, a recipe from my flower shop days, to honor Mom and Dad. The dining room buzzed with chatter. Neighbors, family, friends, the clink of wine glasses. I proudly placed the cake on the table, admiring the delicate pink swirls, unaware that everything was about to fall apart. My sister, Rebecca, 5 years younger, leaned back in her chair. Her voice cut through the laughter like a knife. "Margaret, you're holding us back," she said, eyes cold, not even glancing at the cake. "We want to live without you." The words hit me like a punch. Dad, at the head of the table, just smiled, sipping his red wine, acting as if she'd commented on the weather. Mom froze, fork hovering over her plate. Neighbors Diane, Robert, and Ellen went silent, eyes darting between us. My face burned, but I stayed silent, forcing a smile. I lifted my wine glass and let the bitter sip match the sting in my chest. Nobody said a word, not Dad, not Mom, not a single guest. The air was suffocating. I set the glass down, stood, and walked to my room. Calm, deliberate, measured. They didn't deserve my tears. I packed a single suitcase, clothes, a few photos, my laptop. Quietly, I slipped out the back door into the cool Texas night. My phone stayed silent as I drove 10 miles to a motel. I didn't look back. From that moment, I vowed never to be a burden, not to anyone, not even my family. But I wondered, when the lights go out, the water stops, and bills pile up, would they still find it easy to live without me? I woke in the motel room to the hum of the air conditioner. My phone lay face down, buzzing with unread messages from my sister and Mom. I ignored it, staring at the ceiling, thinking how I ended up here. 5 years ago, I owned Petals and Stems, a small flower shop in downtown Austin. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. Brides came nervous and glowing, asking for peonies and roses for their perfect day. I stayed up late arranging bouquets, hands pricked by thorns, loving every second. The shop was my pride, built from years of saving and planning. Then one night, Dad called, his voice heavy. Their house, the one I grew up in, was drowning in debt. Medical bills, a second mortgage, repairs. Without hesitation, I sold Petals and Stems for $150,000, enough to clear debts, fix the roof, and keep the lights on. I moved back into my childhood bedroom, thinking it temporary. Temporary turned into 5 years. I paid the bills, electricity, water, internet, property taxes, nearly $2,000 a month. I took a low-paying job at a nursery just to keep cash flowing. Dad nodded thanks. Mom hugged me. Rebecca acted like I was an intruder. Becca, as I called her, had once been my shadow, my best friend. We'd sneak into the backyard at night, lying on a blanket under stars, whispering about boys and dreams. I taught her to drive, covered for her parties. But returning home, that Becca was gone. She rolled her eyes at me, muttered about me taking up space, snapped over a coffee mug in the sink. "You don't even belong here." I brushed it off, thinking stress or job struggles were to blame. But the comments kept coming, sharper each time. I tried to stay out of her way, walking early, eating alone, scrolling through old photos, missing my shop. Dad and Mom didn't notice. Dad tinkered in the garage. Mom chatted with neighbors. They leaned on me financially but never asked how I was. I didn't blame them. But Becca's coldness cut deeper. She'd blast music to drown me out, leave passive-aggressive notes about chores. Last month, she told Mom I was mooching, as if I wasn't keeping the house running. Lying in that motel bed, I realized how blind I'd been. I gave up my business, independence, to keep their lives intact. For what? For my sister to call me unappreciated, Dad to smile, Mom to stay silent. The memory of Becca giggling under stars felt like a lie. Maybe she never was that girl. My savings were nearly gone. My nursery job barely covered me. I was still pouring money into a house that didn't want me. I grabbed my laptop to see exactly how much I carried for them. That's when the idea formed. Not revenge, not yet. I checked out of the motel and drove to Thomas and Laura's house, friends who'd been my lifeline after selling petals and stems. Their small bungalow in Hyde Park felt like a place to breathe and think. Thomas opened the door, worried. Laura was already in the kitchen, setting out sandwiches. I sank into the chair at their dining table, weighed down by the last 24 hours. I told them everything. Not about the cake or wine, but my sister's words, my parents' silence. Laura squeezed my hand. Thomas leaned back, jaw tight. "You know," he said, "this reminds me of Edward Hayes." Edward's grown daughter had called him overbearing despite him paying her bills. When she told him not to come around, he cut everything. She had to learn to stand on her own. "Sometimes people need to feel the weight before they value what you carry," he said. Laura nodded. "You've been carrying your family for years, Margaret. What do they even do without your money?" The question hit me harder than expected. I opened my laptop. Rows of automatic payments, electricity, water, internet, insurance, repairs, nearly $2,000 a month. My heart raced but hands were steady. Electricity cancelled, water cancelled, internet gone, insurance terminated. One by one, I cut every thread tying me to that house. They wanted to live without me. So be it. 3 days after I cancelled all the automatic payments, the cracks in my family's world began to show. I was at Thomas and Laura's kitchen table, sipping coffee, when my phone rang. Rebecca's name flashed across the screen like a warning light. I let it ring a few times before answering. "Margaret, what did you do?" Her voice was sharp, edged with panic. "The internet is out. I can't submit my freelance jobs. Mom's freaking out because we just got shut-off notices for electricity and water. Turn it back on now." No greeting. No apology. Just orders, as if I were still managing their lives. I leaned back, keeping my tone steady. "You said you wanted to live without me. Well, this is what that looks like." Rebecca didn't miss a beat. "You're overreacting, Margaret. Just flip it back on and stop being dramatic." I wasn't surprised. She had a talent for twisting every situation, making me feel like the problem. I could hear Mom in the background, voice shaky, rambling about the fridge losing power. "It's not my job to keep your life running," I said. "You're 30. Figure it out." A pause. Then Rebecca laughed bitterly. "You're so sensitive. No one wants you around. This is exactly why." And she hung up. I set the phone down, hands steady though my chest burned. Laura glanced over from the counter. "She's got some nerve." Thomas folded his newspaper and chuckled low. "Give it a few days. They'll feel it." Mom's voice, nervous and unsettled, lingered in my mind. She hadn't defended me at the dinner, hadn't said a word, but she was still my mother. Was I punishing her too? I shook off the thought. They had let Rebecca speak for all of them. That was their choice. Later, Mom called. Her voice soft, pleading. "Margaret, sweetheart, please. The house is falling apart. Rebecca can't work. Your dad can't get mower requests without Wi-Fi. Can't you just turn it back on? We're family." I closed my eyes, picturing her in the living room, ringed hands twisting with anxiety. "Mom," I said, steady but not cold, "Rebecca said you'd be better off without me. You didn't disagree, so I'm giving her exactly what she wanted." A long silence. Then she whispered, she didn't mean it. "You know how she gets. Please come home." I didn't respond immediately. I thought of the months spent tiptoeing through that house, paying bills, absorbing Rebecca's insults, hoping for any shred of thanks. "I'm not coming back," I said. "Not until Rebecca takes responsibility for what she said." Mom tried to interrupt, but I stopped her. "You let her say it, Mom. You and Dad sat there. You're all responsible." Then I hung up. My heart raced, but clarity settled in. Laura, who'd overheard, nodded. "You're stronger than I would have been." I didn't feel strong, I admitted. Just tired but focused. That evening, Rebecca called again, angrier this time. "You think this is a game, Margaret? Neighbors are starting to notice." Diane came over acting concerned, but she's just nosy. You're embarrassing us. I nearly laughed. Embarrassing them, after everything? You wanted me gone. Now I'm gone. Handle your own bills. She exploded, calling me selfish, claiming I'd always been jealous. I didn't listen. I hung up and blocked her number. Thomas walked in as I set the phone down, giving me a thumbs up. About time, he said. The next morning, Mom left a voicemail, quieter, almost desperate. Margaret, we can't keep up without you. The water bill's due. Rebecca's trying to borrow money from Diane. Please, just talk to us. I didn't call back. I wasn't ready for more excuses that avoided the truth. Rebecca had drawn the line that night, and Mom and Dad had let her. They were scrambling. I wasn't bailing them out. Not now, not ever. I stayed with Thomas and Laura, helping Laura with dinner, chatting with Thomas about his organic shop. Their home felt like shelter, a place where I wasn't invisible. But I knew the storm wasn't over. Rebecca wouldn't let this go. Mom's calls would continue. 2 weeks after the power went out, the cracks in my family's world became public. Diane, the neighbor, texted me. Everything okay with your folks? Heard some stuff. I didn't reply, but the message confirmed what I knew. The Collins family was gossip fodder. I stayed focused on my nursery work, saving the little I had left. Rebecca had lost a major freelance contract. Without internet, she couldn't submit designs for a clothing brand she'd been pitching. She took a night shift at a local supermarket, pride bruised. I felt a pang. She was still my sister, but I remembered her words at dinner. She had chosen this path, not me. Mom showed up at Thomas and Laura's unannounced, face drawn, gardening club cheer gone. I was helping Laura sort through photo albums when the doorbell rang. Thomas let her in. Mom clutched her purse like a shield. Margaret, we need to talk. I gestured to the couch. Sit, Mom. She perched nervously. The bank's threatening foreclosure. Rebecca's working nights, but it's not enough. Your dad's picking up more repair jobs, but without Wi-Fi, he can't get orders. We're falling apart, Margaret. For a moment, I saw the woman who'd taught me to plant tulips, not the one silent while my sister tore me down. I'm sorry you're struggling, I said carefully. But Rebecca started this. You let her. I'm done carrying her mistakes. Mom's face crumpled. No argument. Your dad doesn't know what to do, she said softly. Then he can talk to Rebecca. She started this. Mom stood, shoulders sagging. I thought family meant more to you, she said, leaving without another word. Laura, who stayed quiet, squeezed my arm. You did the right thing. Neighborhood gossip grew. Diane spread news. Robert Parker mentioned unpaid invoices at a block party. Rebecca's supermarket job became a running joke. I stayed away, focusing on my own life. But I knew the pressure was building. My family was running out of time, and I wasn't saving them. 3 months after I walked away, the house that held my childhood was gone. My sister, Dad, and Mom sold it, unable to keep up with the mortgage and mounting bills. Diane, the neighbor who never missed a chance to gossip, sent me a photo of the for sale sign in their front yard. Paint chipped, lawn unkempt. I didn't respond, but through Laura, I learned they'd moved into a small one-bedroom rental on the edge of Austin, far from the neighborhood they'd called home for decades. The Parkers, Robert and Ellen, spread the news at every opportunity. Collins' family fallen on hard times. Whispers carried through block parties and coffee runs. Rebecca's designer dreams crumbled. Every step outside her new apartment reminded her of the life she had built on borrowed stability. And I didn't go to see them. I had made my choice. I was done carrying their weight. With what remained of my savings, I bought a modest one-bedroom condo in South Austin, near a park. The walls were bare at first, but I filled them with sketches of flowers, roses, lilies, peonies, a tribute to my shop, petals and stems. I took a job as a consultant for a local florist, teaching workshops, designing wedding arrangements. It wasn't my shop, but it felt like reclaiming my life. Every paycheck went into my account, not someone else's bills. For the first time in years, I slept without the weight of expectations pressing down. One morning, a letter arrived. The handwriting was unmistakably Rebecca's. Neat, deliberate, just like when she wrote me notes as a kid. I stared at it, hesitant. Part of me wanted to read it, another part remembered her cold words. When I opened it, her tone was softer than I expected. "Margaret, I'm sorry for what I said." I was stressed, angry, but that's no excuse. "I didn't realize how much you did for us. I hope we can talk." No mention of Dad or Mom. No promises to make things right. Just a small, late apology. I folded it and tucked it in a drawer next to old photos I hadn't touched in months. I didn't write back. Rebecca wanted a life without me, and I was giving it to her, not out of spite, but because I deserved a life where I wasn't invisible. Dad's silence. Mom's pleas. Rebecca's cruelty. They'd shown me who they were. I wasn't going back. I blocked their numbers, deleted voicemails, and let distance grow. Thomas and Laura checked in often, bringing takeout or inviting me to their garden parties. But I was learning to stand alone, and it felt right. Looking back, the lesson carved itself into every step. Family isn't just blood. It's respect, mutual support, and seeing each other's sacrifices. I had given everything to keep their world turning, but they took it for granted. That broke us. Rebecca, Dad, and Mom learned the hard way that words have weight, and choices carry consequences. They were rebuilding now in their own way, and I wished them no harm, but I was done carrying their load. Self-reliance became my foundation. Without it, love is just a word, empty and brittle. I focused on myself. My condo became a sanctuary. I immersed myself in floral design, consulting, and workshops. Every bouquet I arranged was a reminder of the life I had built for myself, independent, strong. No one else's debts or expectations weighed on me. I learned to set boundaries, to value my time, energy, and peace of mind. Occasionally, I thought of Rebecca. I remembered our childhood giggles under the stars, the nights we whispered about dreams. But I also remembered the sister who had rejected me, belittled me, refused gratitude. I accepted both. The past didn't define my future. I did. Thomas and Laura became like chosen family, supporting me through the transition. Their encouragement reminded me that you don't have to be trapped by blood ties if they cause harm. Real family can be the people who show up, respect you, and allow you to grow. Now, when I wake up, I feel light. I walk in the park, sketch flowers, sip coffee, and plan my days without obligation to anyone but myself. The life I lost by sacrifice has returned to me, stronger and more peaceful. And that's the true lesson. Love yourself enough to step away, reclaim your power, and rebuild on your own terms. To everyone who's followed this story, thank you. Your attention and understanding mean more than words. Some of you may feel unseen, unappreciated by those you've sacrificed for. I see you. Know that walking away doesn't make you cruel. It makes you strong, self-aware, and free. I share this story because strength is built in moments of clarity and choice. I chose myself. And in doing so, I found life, freedom, and peace. Rebecca may apologize. Mom may plead. Dad may stay silent. But I am no longer invisible. I am finally, fully Margaret Collins. And I am free.